there, farmers, and welcome to the next episode of The Harvest Season, your favorite farming podcast.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo.
The most exciting intro I've ever done in my life.
It was certainly something.
It was, I'm really showing off those thespian society points there. But welcome to the podcast. We have an exciting episode for you guys today. I'm Raschelle, you're Al.
I am Al.
And we're going to talk about our Stardew Valley challenge today.
Yes.
At the end.
And how badly Raschelle has beaten me.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I actually don't know. I kind of like, true story. I literally woke up today and the first thought I had was, what if Al beat me? So, we'll see.
Would that damage your pride as clearly the veteran farming game user on this podcast?
No, you just learn to not have pride in anything. It's fine.
Oh, all right. Okay, that went a bit sad.
So let's get started. Before we start in on our challenge, let's hit the usual roundup stuff. We're continuing to get feedback, and it continues to make my heart grow.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
So, thank you to Johnny, Michael, and Farmer Ben for sending in your fantastic emails. Did you know my little brother's name is Ben?
Is he?
No,
Oh.
he's a tech guy.
Oh. Does he like farming games?
I don't know.
Oh, you need to find out.
I talked to him like this weekend and I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, thank you to Farmer Ben, who's not my little brother.
We also got another iTunes review from Starling. That's 3 G's at the end, which is why my voice went a bit weird there. Thank you for that. That is always good to read. I see there's a number of other, not reviews, but just ratings, which is great to see. Thank you all for that.
Gotta collect those stars like they're part of the community center.
That is better than what I was thinking. I was thinking Mario, but that one fits the theme better.
You're welcome.
Raschelle, what are you playing?
Oh gosh.
I'm not sure how long this section will be this week.
I played a heck of a lot of Stardew Valley. Although, I will say, I did not get to the end of year 1. And the only reason I did not is because I finally got my hands on my copy of Katamari Damacy? Katamari. And I played a heckin' lot of Katamari. I'm not gonna lie. I literally almost beat the game, and I've almost completed the game.
So wait. In the last 2 weeks and 2 days, because we're recording this episode later than normal, you not only probably beat me in the Stardew challenge, but you also completed Katamari Damacy, or however it's said.
I mean, I didn't 100% it yet. I still have like 3 or 4 gifts to get, and I've only got like 80-something% of all the items. I really like Katamari. It's a really good game. It's a pretty short game, though.
Fair enough. I don't know, because I've not got to that point yet.
I believe in you. I do enjoy, secretly, that I am eternally disappointing Space Dad. I am an alien who was budded, so, like, I don't have a dad, but if I had a dad, I would like to believe that it would be exactly like having Space Dad in Katamari, where you're just like, this is fine, but I would have made a bigger one, and that's it. Have a present. 85% sure that's how dads work. What have you been playing?
Well, I have been playing Stardew Valley. Funny that.
Nothing else?
I also played a little bit of Katamari because I bought it. It's an odd game. I didn't really get that far into it because I was like, why am I playing this? I need to beat Raschelle. So I closed it and opened up Stardew again. I think
you're so much more responsible than me. You were like, I actually have to do something. And I was like, I finished Katamari. What should I have to do a challenge.
Yeah, I think that's all I've done this week. Is a little bit of Katamari and the Stardew, which of course, just shows you how busy my life is, as I didn't even manage to get as far as you in Stardew, despite that being the only game I played basically these last 2 weeks.
That's okay.
Such is life when you have 2 kids. They take up a lot of your time.
Look at your life. Look at your choices.
Yeah.
Your kids are real cute, though.
They really are.
Not gonna lie. Had I the choice, I'd probably hang out with them instead, too. They'd be like, who is this person?
Well, that is what we've been playing. I guess it's time to go on to the news. And I want to talk about the first one because, I don't know, did you see this news before you opened up our show notes?
No.
This first bit of news. So, the breaking news, of course, is breaking for us, but this episode doesn't go out for 5 days. So, it's for 6 days. So, not breaking for everyone listening, but Stardew for Android, the pre-registration is now open. So, you can go onto the Google Play Store and click a button to get a notification when it comes out. We still don't have a date for when it comes out. But they have said it's, and I quote, "We're excited to confirm the exact release date as soon as possible, brackets, it won't be long." So, it's nearly here. That's exciting, because I think that's the first thing we've heard about the Android version since the iOS version came out.
Yeah, it's a really great... People are like, but it doesn't have a date. I'm like, not long is a lot better than...
No information.
It'll be a thing.
Definitely, definitely.
So
that's an exciting bit of news. And also they've confirmed, I think you could do this in the iOS version as well, but you can transfer from your PC save to Android if you want to continue from where you left off on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little... I do wish it would be really nice if you could transfer the saves like between all the versions wherever you wanted, so that I could play it on the Switch and then just hop onto my PC, play it there, hop onto my... Because let's be honest, I'm probably going to buy it on my phone eventually. But yeah, you can't ask for everything. Well, you can ask for everything.
No.
You can't get everything.
You have to buy it multiple times.
Well, yeah. No, I'm not asking for it to be free if I've bought it on another one, just like to be able to transfer my saves between them after I've bought them.
You have to invest dozens of hours multiple times.
Yeah. Anyway, so speaking of Stardew, we also have another piece of information about Stardew, which is the first news about Stardew 1.4 update.
Oh my gosh.
And this was announced as a reply to someone asking Concerned Ape about fishing. In the new update, he is adding a beginner's rod that you can buy, I quote, "If you're struggling to get into fishing, it will make easier to catch low-level fish. It will make it easier to catch low-level fish and level up your fishing skill, but can't be used to catch high-quality or rare fish." So I don't know about you, Raschelle, but I think this sounds like a great addition to the game.
I wish I had this like 6 months ago because like I notoriously literally never fished for years because I just could not get the hang of it. And then I finally just like doubled down and like really, really tried to learn to fish. And I'm good at it now. And I'm like, I would have loved this when I was bad at it. I'm very excited. I think this is a really good addition.
Yeah, it should be really good. I probably won't ever use it, but I'm glad that it's there for people who are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, to just use it to level up to start with and then progress to the other rods once, because the fishing gets easier as you level up. Your bar gets bigger and stuff.
I'm excited for this.
Do you want to take the next two?
Oh, you bet I do. I am through the roof with excitement about this. So we heard recently from Nintendo 2 facts about my favorite farming game series, Rune Factory. Rune Factory 4, which is a game you can buy right now on your Nintendo 3DS, is getting a Switch version. I'm very excited. Are you gonna get this game?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
I mean, I've got a podcast now about farming simulators. I don't know if you've heard. So I feel like I have to buy them all now. Yeah.
This one, at the very least, because I know how much you hate playing anything that's not on the Switch, which means I can't suggest the whole Rune Factory series to you. But now you can play the latest one on your Switch while you're waiting for the newly announced Rune Factory 5 to come out.
What?
Yeah, they're gonna do the next one, which they haven't done in 10,000 years. I'm so excited. You can't see my face right now, but I'm really excited.
I think you might be excited.
Just a little bit. Rune Factory is my absolute favorite. It's, for those of you who don't know, the first one is titled Rune Factory, a Fantasy Harvest Moon, which should tell you a lot about it. It's a Harvest Moon spin-off that is... How would I describe Rune Factory? It's part farming, obviously, which is why we're talking about it. But then it's also part like RPG. It has a storyline and like you go through dungeons and etc. There's a little bit of Pokemon in there. You do, rather than having like cows and chickens, the monsters that are in the caves that are like your dungeons, you can actually tame them and you can collect them all. It's really fun and I love it. And I'm super excited for a new one. And I'm actually very, very excited. I'm so excited to like play Rune Factory 4 on my big television. I'm so excited.
So when are these coming out?
Rune Factory 4 is supposed to come out in 2019. I don't think we heard anything about Rune Factory 5.
No, they literally, if people didn't watch, it was in the Nintendo Direct. It was literally just the logo and Rune Factory 5 is in development. That was it.
I'll take it.
So let's hope they don't do a what's it called? Oh, see when words just disappear out your head.
I mean,
Let's hope they don't do a Metroid Prime 4. There we go.
That's the one you went to. All right. So our next news point is another game that I'm so excited about.
I am also very excited about this game. So excited that I have already bought it. So this is called Summer in Mara. And so this is quite interesting because it's set on an island.
Which is my jam.
Which is cool. But the origin story is not quite the same as what you would kind of expect from previous ones. So you are shipwrecked onto this island, but from what it looks like from the video, it looks like you're on a ship as a baby. The ship blows up and somehow you survive. Let's not question that. And you're picked up by one of the natives of this island and taken back and raised amongst them. So it's kind of similar, but also has an interesting twist in that the inhabitants of the island are not humans. They are another species.
I like it. I love them. I love all the designs of everything. I love the aesthetics. I love the premise. I love everything about this game, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, and the did you watch the trailer? I presume you watched the trailer.
A more accurate question would be, how many times did you watch the trailer? Which is, I'm going to say at least 7.
That's more than I watched, but I think that trailer it got me. Like there are no words, no talking or anything, and how it ended just really got me.
I have high hopes for this one.
Yeah,
I don't normally get my hopes up for games, and I hope this isn't a mistake, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, so I think it's probably important to say that the people who are building this one, Chivig Studios, they have made other games before and they have done Kickstarter ones before. This one is a Kickstarter game. And the last one they did, they made and released on time when they said they were going to. So that is good that they do have a track record of this. They say this one's coming out around September of this year. Obviously, we've talked before, quite often these things slip because people are really bad at estimating how long these things take and things can go wrong. And unless you pretty much have the game done when you launch your Kickstarter, assuming that you're saying it's within the next year, you probably won't release on time. But based on the fact that the last one worked out, I'm quite hopeful for this one.
Me too. Go watch the trailer. It's so good.
Also, you can take. There's a couple of interesting things that. So there's you can boat between other islands. So you go to other islands to trade with people and to mine and stuff like that. But also they've just passed. I think today one of their stretch goals, which will include a surfing minigame.
I'm so excited. I literally can't even words.
I've also written down here skills/abilities, which I don't know what I meant by that, but...
I don't know what you meant either.
I I think I must have liked the look of the skills and abilities system, but I can't remember what, and I'm currently scrolling down to see. Anyway, the art style looks really nice, and yeah, I love the look of the characters, and the story sounds interesting. And of course, it is coming to Switch as well as PS4 and PC and Mac, which is
whoop, whoop.
good. And if you back on Kickstarter, you can get the Switch code instead of a Steam code if that's what you want, which I have done because I can't control myself. Look, I don't know. I looked at it. It looked amazing. And I just clicked a button. Oops. These things happen. Yeah, so the islands are different types of islands, which I quite like the look of. Basically, your kind of traditional RPG games would like have different biomes essentially that you would go to with different weather and stuff like that. These islands are like that, which you don't tend to see a huge amount in farming games. I guess Trio of Towns kind of had that. The 3 towns were kind of different weather in some cases, but this one sounds like it might be a bit more dramatic than that, because in Trio of Towns, although they could have different weather, they would all be at least like they're all in winter at the same time, although obviously it wouldn't snow in one of them, but it was still winter, whereas it sounds like it might be a bit different in this one. I don't know. I might be just making stuff up.
We'll see.
Yeah, so that looks exciting.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited as well. This one, it better be good. The next one is a bit of a different one. It's not your kind of standard farming game. It's more like a tycoon game, but it's called Factory Town. I love the look of this. It looks really nice. It's PC only, but basically you build up a town that's built around farming and building forests and stuff like that, which looks really nice. The people are ridiculous. They're like little kind of block people that bounce around rather than walking.
It's cute.
But yeah, kind of, it feels like a cross between SimCity, Transport Tycoon, farming games, that sort of thing. It's not quite as strictly farming game, but I loved the look of it, and it's apparently coming out on the 12th of March. So yeah.
Tide you over until we get to our September release games.
Yeah.
It looks really nice. I like it a lot. I think the bopped people are cute. Like, they're just like hoppity boppity.
Brilliant. Yeah. So it's a lot. I think it certainly fits the same kind of gameplay style that a lot of people look for in farming games. It's like, it's just kind of calming. You're just building up something, trying to make it efficient and make lots of money and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting.
It's got that feel yes. Yes, I'm very distracted watching the video.
It is quite enticing. It's a very well done video that just makes you want to keep watching it.
It's very good. I'm also excited for that one. The Re-Legend Alpha release is out for Kickstarter backers.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, I think we mentioned this last episode. It was one that came out. Was it 2017 this Kickstarter started?
I think so.
I think so.
Maybe. Look, time isn't real. So...
I think so. I think it was 2017. Yeah, there's not much more to say about this. We talked about it last week. But yeah, if you kickstarted that, you can get your alpha key and get playing it.
We also have Fishing Star World Tour. Do you like fishing? I bet you're going to like this video game about fishing. I
mean, that's literally all it is. It's just fishing. Like, there is nothing else to it. There's no like base. There's no storyline. There's nothing. It's just fishing. You fish, and it's like you collect different types of fish.
It reminds me of, do you even know the River King games, Al?
I've heard of them, but I've not actually played any or really paid attention to them, but I've heard of them.
Yeah, I think in my mind, they're just ancient video games of the past. I think the latest one came out like maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
So like, it's not really in the zeitgeist of gaming a lot anymore, but it is a very Harvest Moon-y feeling game, except that rather than focusing on farming, it's focusing on fishing. I don't know. Reminds me of River King. It's been a long time. I'll have to visit those again. Anyway, fish. Hunt fish? No, you fish. It's fishing! Woo!
Yeah, it looks interesting. I don't know whether I'll buy it. It's quite expensive for a game that's just about fishing.
Oh, how
it's
much?
Like 30 quid.
How much is that?
Well, it's $30 in America.
Oh.
It's about the same over here.
I was just like, do I need to get out a currency converter? Like, the computers do that for me at work. I don't think about it.
Like, I mean, there used to be a time where you could just divide number of dollars by 2 and you'd get the number of pounds. Nowadays, it's pretty much just you take the number of dollars and that's the number of pounds. But let's not talk about that.
Anyway.
The last thing is just a small thing. I just noticed what you put in the show notes next to this one. Thanks, Raschelle.
I would like you to read this word for word for our listeners.
So there was a tweet from the developer of Forager, which we also talked about last week, where he talks about he has completely redesigned the entire main menu system in Forager a few weeks before release. And so I said that hints that release is only a few weeks away. To which Raschelle says, why, yes, that is what a few weeks before release means. So, yeah. So here's a fun fact for you, just as a complete aside. I failed my higher English at school, which is like the kind of standard thing you get before you leave school with English. And I think it was because I did stuff like that. I would just like repeat myself by slightly reorganizing the sentence.
That's like you're essentially like a literature class, right? Like we have English classes, but it's not like a language class. It's like, let's read some books and write some, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I don't have to learn the English language. I know I'm from Scotland, but English is my first language.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I just want to make that clear because we call that English class because we're weird. I also failed a lot of my high school English classes, but for different reasons. I was a little punk. I literally would fail assignments because I was like, I don't want to write a persuasive essay. I want to write an essay about this other thing. And then I would just write a random essay and my teachers would be like, this is a well-written essay, but like, you didn't
That's not what we asked
assignment.
For. Yeah, whereas I was just like, I don't want to write an essay, and so I just did them badly because I was not good at it. It was funny because like they talk about like, oh, what does the author mean when they say this, and I'm like, I don't care. What does it matter?
I really, really love that stuff. And I am actually notorious for my senior year of high school. I took you could either do regular English or you could take alternative classes, which was 1 semester of literature of film and 1 semester of sci-fi and fantasy. And I got in arguments with my sci-fi fantasy teacher. Literally, I had an argument, it wasn't an argument, it was more like a very passionate discussion about a character in the book Dune for an entire class period. Like,
oh dear.
I was that kid.
Fair enough. I mean, I reckon that part of my issue was that a lot of what we did was Shakespeare, and I did not care at all. And I didn't even care to understand the words he was saying, never mind what he meant by them.
I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry.
Whatever. It's fine. It was 12 years ago now. I don't need to think about it anymore.
We did Shakespeare in middle school. Let's move on from our horrible past and talk about the recent past.
Woo. That's all the news.
Let's move on to this awesome challenge.
Yeah, the challenge. So, Raschelle, do you want to go over the rules again, just in case? Because you may be coming to this episode as your first episode. So, if you do, and you want to take part in the challenge, listen to the rules, pause the podcast, spend 2 weeks doing the challenge, and play the podcast again.
Oh, gosh. I never wrote down the rules. I just recorded them. I got this. I graduated my high school with more Thespian Society points than anyone in the history of my high school. I think I can manage this improvisation.
Look, I don't understand anything you said there. We don't graduate high school. This is such an odd concept to understand.
What? Like you're just in high school for the rest of your life?
No, you don't have to graduate. You just leave.
You don't just finish high school? You just leave whenever you want?
Well, no, you finish, but you don't you don't graduate. You just
You don't have a ceremony at the end where your teachers go, all right, you guys behave well today because when you look back on it, this is going to be the most important and influential day of your entire lives?
No.
I'm a little jealous. Um,
No, we just leave. You're done. You finish your final exams and then you go. You're done.
the goal of this challenge was to make as much money as possible from a new save only by mining. You were allowed to grow the first 15 turnip seeds that you got for free. But other than that, you could not do any farming. You couldn't do any foraging. You couldn't do anything to earn money outside of the mines. You were allowed to harvest mushrooms or fruit from your cave. You were allowed to cut down trees to make chests and the likes, but you couldn't sell anything you got from that. You were allowed to do the Joja or community center tasks to get the mine carts, but you couldn't make any residual money from that. You couldn't fish for food. You couldn't forage for food. Mining, making the money. That was the thing.
Yeah, we are miners. So I guess we need to talk about how we did. So first of all, shall we talk about the amount of time you actually spent in the game? So the in-game hours.
How about this? Tell us how long it took you, how much money you made in total, and how much money you ended with in your pockets. Go.
Okay, so I spent 15 hours and 8 minutes in the game. I made 152,817, and I currently have 12,907, which isn't very much because I've just spent most of it.
Wow.
What about you, Raschelle?
I was not expecting that. So one thing that should be noted, I think you got part way through fall.
Yes, I got a week into fall. I didn't get enough time to do that, sadly, because my life is busy, but that's okay. That's fine.
That's okay. I literally got through the entirety of fall. I played for 24 hours and 24 minutes, and I ended with 406,408 money in my pocket and 561,459 as my total earned.
I didn't register what those numbers were. Can you type them in the Skype window? Because I think the aphantasia seems to be an issue with this, but obviously I can't use that as an excuse if you're not going to use it as an excuse.
I mean, we can use it as an excuse. I'm happy to use it as an excuse.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. That's a lot of money.
Which is...
My word. Oh, wow. Like, I wasn't even close.
You were like, I think you said like you had earned a total of, what was it, 100 and something by...
152,000.
A quarter through fall. I was like...
What?
I actually don't think I was that far ahead of you at the beginning of fall. The first week of fall was a little wobbly, but the last few weeks of fall, I'm pretty sure I was earning usually 10 to 20,000 a day, depending. I think averaged out, because we can talk about the process in a minute, but I had a particular tactic to it, so.
All right, okay. So let's go with tactics just now then. So first of all,
we need to establish that I definitely crushed you.
You absolutely did. Like that wasn't even a contest, which I'm okay with.
And I woke up in a panic that you would beat me.
What were your number of hours in the game? Did you say that?
24 hours and 24 minutes.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's not actually... So it will be interesting to see whether or not it is that like couple of weeks of fall that made that massive difference. I don't feel like it would be, because I don't know. We'll come to that. So let's start off with tactics, shall we? So first of all, obviously the biggest issue that you'd have is, oh no, it like mining takes a lot of energy and there's very little we can do for food. So what did you do for food?
What did I do for food? Well, you made all the rules. I would like to make that clear. And I feel like, as we were discussing rules, you were basically like, you're not allowed to do anything you were considering doing for food. And I'm just like, what are these nonsense rules?
Well, you kept coming to me saying, what about this thing that isn't mining? And I would say, that's not mining.
Well, but here's the thing, because I was under the impression initially, like, you can do whatever, you just can't make money from it. So, like, you could farm, like, I was like, oh, I'll just fish for some fish and use that as food in the mine. No. I was just like, even if I'm not going to sell it, you're like, no fishing. And I'm like, okay. Which was fine. It actually turned out fine for me. For food, I actually chose the bat cave once I got to that point. And I would just go in once a week and harvest a whole bunch of fruit, which I like having the fruit because fruit tends to give you more health as well, if that makes sense. So food both replenishes your energy and your health, and a lot of foods replenish less health than energy, but fruits tend to have a bit of a higher health replenishment. So, like, when I keep getting hit by it's fine. Bats, I have opinions about bats. So that helped. Mostly I just did that. I would eat just occasionally, like, monsters drop stuff like algae and stuff. So like, honestly, I just kind of hoarded all of that. I didn't sell any of it. I just hoarded it. I did not plant those first 15 seeds. So I didn't have those turnips.
Oh.
So that was a waste of energy.
All right.
But we can talk about that in like a more, not on this food specific talk.
No. All right. So that's interesting. So yeah, I also used the stuff that monsters dropped to start with. But after a while, and I ended up with just a ridiculous number of mushrooms. Because not only do you get them in your little cave, but obviously you get them when mining as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would save the red, the purple, and the other two that you use to make the life potion or whatever it's called.
The Morelel and the Chanterelle.
Yes, yeah.
Morelel, there's a Pokemon. Morelel?
Uh,
Anyway, this is not a Pokemon podcast.
No. And I would save them and use them when I could for getting the life potions. And then the other mushrooms, the standard mushrooms, you can just eat normally. They don't sap away anything. So I would keep them in my bag at all times and use them for like normal mining and keep the life potions for emergency situations and other things. So actually I didn't end up needing the algae after quite a long time because I ended up with like a stack of 50 of these normal mushrooms that I just wasn't using because I didn't need to. But also I would, and it was probably a bit of a wasted time based on the fact that I have had such a large quantity of mushrooms, but I went to the spa most days. So I would go into the mine, I would go and get my geodes processed before the shop closed, and then I would pop into the spa and then go back over to the mines.
Interesting. I am starting to see where a lot of our strategies diverge. Yeah. I also used the hot springs a lot. Not too far into summer, not long after you get them, I fell into a really nice routine of I'd go and do a morning shift at the mine and then take a long lunch break in the spa and then go back for an evening shift at the mine. So that eliminated a lot of my food needs, because I did not collect nearly as much as you, because you don't get as many fruits as you get mushrooms with the cave on your farm.
Yeah.
But I didn't really need it, partially because of the hot springs and partially because I'm really good at not dying in the mines.
Keep bringing that up.
So I'm just going to keep rubbing it in. I did die a couple times, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Did you go the Joja or community center routes to get your mine carts?
Yeah, so I went the Joja route, and mainly that was because I felt I don't want to waste time trying to figure out what I need to get the mine carts. And also partially because I'd never done the Joja route and I thought it'd be interesting to see the storyline. I felt quite bad doing it.
Good.
It's ridiculous. It's a video game. But I was like, I felt so bad doing this.
You should.
But it was very interesting. One thing I did note is that because I think because I did it so early, you know the cutscene you have with Mayor Lewis, where he stands in front of the community centre and says, "Oh, isn't this an eyesore? I've told Joja that if they sell one more, they can turn it into a warehouse. But I'm not happy about that. And it's a shame that young people don't use it anymore." So if you buy Joja before that cutscene happens, the cutscene still happens. but it is already the warehouse.
Oh my gosh. That's delightful.
It gets better though, because you go into you know how when you go into the community center and then you see one of the
Junimo?
the Junimos, and is like, oh, and then you walk after it.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the stuff in the warehouse is organized means that you can't get to the spot where the cutscene ends. So you're left in an infinite loop, walking forwards towards these boxes forever.
You just couldn't wait till day 7.
Look, I was like, I need these. I got to do this now. So, yeah. Although this did lead me to an interesting revelation in that you can skip a cutscene in Stardew by pressing on the Switch by pressing the minus button.
Yeah.
So that is interesting that I'd never realised before, but only by getting into an infinite loop in that cutscene. So I just thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I feel like that's not a very common thing to turn into, because who's buying the JoJo membership that in the first week?
That's a true delight. Oh my gosh.
Me, yeah. I may well be the first person that's ever done that.
If you've done this, dear listeners, please tell me. I want to know. I just went the community center route because I've basically memorized it. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to set this stuff aside and I know I need it to finish the community center. I therefore got the mine carts a lot later than you because I did a minimal amount of foraging, which was just to do the foraging bundles to unlock the mine cart bundle. Yeah. But by the time I had got to that, it was like summer 5 or something like that. And I'd already hit the bottom of the mines and had everything I needed to complete the boiler room to get the mine carts. So I did a lot more walking back and forth than you.
Yeah, I think I did end up unlocking them in spring, quite early in spring. I mean, I think was it 15,000 I think you need for the mine carts? I think it was something like that.
I've never done the JoJo stuff.
I think it's 15,000 you need. As a side note, the other thing that I managed to completely mess up is that I was doing that and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I was saving up to get the bus because I wanted to go to Skull Cavern. And then I thought it said 20,000, but it actually said 40,000. So I went back with 20,000 and went, oh, it's 40,000. And then I saw, oh, right, of course I can get the panning for 20,000 instead. So like, right, okay, well, I'll do that then. I'll buy the panning. So I bought the panning, and then you get the cutscene where you get the panning bowl. I was like, oh, great. And then I was like, this isn't in the mine. Oh, well, it's too late. I just wasted 20 grand on something I can't do.
Oh, no. That's hilarious and awful.
Yeah, so I wasted money on panning, which was really sad. Oh, well.
Okay, so you said to get to Skull Cavern. Walk me through your strategy.
Okay, so we had a quick chat at one point where I was saying, how are we going to define this? Are we going to define the winning as the amount of money you have in your bag or the amount of money you've got overall? And we decided the money overall because I felt like if it was just the money in your bag, then you have no reason to do anything other than just mine essentially copper, because to do anything else you have to spend money. And so if I then spend 10 grand on upgrading my pickaxe to gold, that feels like a waste if we're counting the money that you just have in your bag. So we decided just to do it all. And so what I decided I would do is just as quickly as I can get to the bottom of the mine, get my pickaxe upgraded as quickly as possible, get as much gold as I could within that time, unlock the bus, get to Skull Cavern and get lots of iridium and make iridium bars and sell them. What I failed to remember is that Skull Cavern is really hard. It's not just a little bit harder than the mine. It's a lot harder than the mine. And there were just too many times that I got caught in a corner with 5 of these dragon lizard things, whatever they are, just attacking me. And I'm not very good at the timing with them, and just kept dying in Skull Cavern. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I stopped doing that. But that was my idea, was I'll get to Skull Cavern, I'll get lots of iridium. That's the way to win it. Obviously it didn't work out for me.
I was going to say, when you first, because I think you just casually mentioned that your goal was to get to Skull Cavern. And I didn't say anything because we were in a competition, but I was like, okay, if that's how you want to do, make it hard for yourself. Sorry, Al.
So walk me through your strategy then.
Okay.
Expert.
So First off, starting from the top, I chose the mining farm map.
Oh, yes. I also did that.
Good, because what that let me do is by the time the mine's unlocked, I was already a couple skill levels in, because rather than farming and wasting my time on seeds, I went through all the rocks on the farm, and it has the farming map. It's the hilltop map, which has a little area that just spawns rocks and mining nodes.
It's like the quarry, essentially. It's a small version of the quarry.
Yeah, it's a tiny little quarry, and I didn't make any money from anything there, but being able to just like clear that all out for like the 5 days before you can get into the mine helped me get my skill level up really fast. And from there, my goal was just, I got to the bottom of the mine, I upgrade my tools along the way, and what I would do is I'd go through the mine as far as I could, which, like I said, once I got the hot spring, I'd do like 2 shifts a day, and then I'd go home and I would put all of the geodes I'd gotten just in a box and then sell everything else. And then once a week, I would take all my geodes and I'd go get them all cracked open, and then I'd sell all those. So when I say by the end I was making like probably 10 or 20 grand a day, it's an average because like I'd kind of fluctuate a little bit during the week at a lower number, but then like on Sundays, I'd make a poop ton of money selling everything from inside of geodes.
Yeah.
And that's where my entire strategy was focused, on geodes. So by the time I got to the bottom, I did say earlier I died a couple times. And what it was is that I was like, Al said he was going to Skull Cavern. Maybe I'll try that. Because I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyway. Thanks. And I went, part of why I went is because I got a prismatic shard and I went and got myself a nice sword. Which is the only reason, actually, I wasn't going to go to the desert, except I got a prismatic shard and was like, I could use a nice sword. So I wasted money on that. And I went down into Skull Cavern twice, and I died twice, and was like, this is why I decided this was dumb, and I didn't go back again. But I would basically cycle through those last 10 levels of the mine, where there's a lot of gold and there's a lot of geodes, and especially omni geodes. So like it was very common for me to have like 100 geodes to crack open by the end of a week. So just going through that, and I would clear entire levels. I'd hit every single rock, I'd kill every single monster and sell all the rocks, sell all the monster drops. Like,
so I'm curious, right? So I've got a couple of questions for you. First of all, did you turn your ore into bars, or did you just sell it as ore?
Turned them into bars.
Right, okay, so you did turn them into bars. And secondly, your total is like a ridiculous amount compared to mine, and you're only like 3 weeks ahead of me. Okay, and you think that you weren't that much ahead of me at the beginning of fall.
No.
So what on earth? What happened? Like. What happened within those 3 weeks? Like, because obviously something happened that meant you were getting a ridiculous amount more. But presumably you already had your pickups upgraded before that. Presumably you weren't spending more time down the mine. So what happened?
What happened is, so part of it, at the end of week 1 of fall, I want to say I was only at about 200 grand. So I actually was not that far ahead of you.
Yeah.
But I think what happened is right after that week, I really fell into the fine-tuned machine aspect of it, where I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing in exactly what way. Part of it is that I fully upgraded my pickaxe. I had an iridium pickaxe, and that lets you do a lot, because when it's only 1 energy per hit,
yeah,
like that's 300 something rocks you can clear out without having to leave.
Did upgrading to iridium, did that happen in fall, or was that before fall as well?
I want to say it was probably beginning of fall. I don't think I had it in the summer.
I feel like that could have made a big difference, because I only ever upgraded to gold. I couldn't bring myself to not sell iridium I got, so that could make a big difference. But I guess the next question then is, right, so I
was not done. sir.
Oh, sorry.
You're not even going to get my major tip.
Oh, no.
That, and I found a really nice little trick where if you could find a mushroom level, which was disturbingly common for me in those last 20 levels of the mine. Like, I had mushroom levels like half the week every week, but I found that you can make a ton of money just from the mushrooms. So, like, what I would do if, like, I hit a mushroom level on, like, 103, I'd leave and go back down to 103. And it's a mushroom level the whole day. It spawns mushrooms all day every time you go back to that level. So I just circle around and around and around and sell, like, 85 mushrooms a day.
Oh.
So that probably also had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, whereas I just kept all my mushrooms. Eating them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't eat a single mushroom.
So, how often... So you were... I was basically going down the last... When I realised that Skull Cavern wasn't working, I basically just did the last 10 levels of the mine as well, over and over again. But I guess the question is, so you did 2 shifts in the mine every day. How many levels did you end up getting to within each shift? So what, did you go through the 10 or 20 levels once, twice, 10 times?
On a daily basis, depending on how much spawned on what that day, I would usually get through 10 or 15 levels in a whole day, keeping in mind that I was completely wiping out levels. So, like, hitting every rock, killing every monster takes more time than just harvesting the ores and then going to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's also part of how I got so many geodes, you know what I mean? Because, like, you get a chance to drop geodes every time you hit a rock.
Yeah.
And just play the statistics, like, the more rocks you hit, the more geodes you're going to get. And that was part of my whole strategy. So
yeah, that's interesting, because I definitely don't think it's just the amount of time we spent in the game.
Yeah.
I think that even if I got to the end of fall, you still would have beaten me by, at least a couple of 100,000, which is interesting. So I reckon the mushrooms is probably a big part of that. Although I did not know that tip about it always being a mushroom level. That is good to know.
I learned that on accident. True story. Because I hit a mushroom level and then I left, went to the hot springs and came back. And the level I started on every day was just kind of based on what layout I felt like. Because after a while, you're doing the same levels so many times. It gets boring. Gotta change it up. And I was just like, those ones were fine today. I'll do them again. And I hit like 103 or whatever again and was like, oh my gosh.
Interesting.
It's still mushrooms. And then, like, I literally spent the rest of the day going back again just to see if it would actually just keep going. And that day, because of the mushrooms, I earned so much money. And I was like, oh, I'm incorporating this into my strategy now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that might have been a big part of it. Also, the fact that you obviously condensed all your geode crushing into one day a week, whereas I would do it basically every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 You said that, and I was like, that's a waste of time. I'm sorry. I could be nice.
It is interesting, because the one thing that I was thinking throughout this all is I want more minecart stations.
If there was a minecart station at the hot spring, I would be so happy. Like, that's it. That's all I want. Literally just that one.
It'd be amazing.
And I would be happy.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if you could, like, if Concerned Ape is listening, hello, here's some advice that I have. It would be great if in the next version you could pay to add extra minecart stations. That'd be great.
Have Robin build some for you.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Okay, that's interesting.
I will say on that note, because it's a long walk. Like, I don't know about you. I didn't bother trying to get a horse.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I don't think I could have. Like, I don't think you can get that much hardwood from the mines.
I think you could eventually, but it would take a while.
I mean, not within this challenge.
No, probably not within the first year, no.
Yeah, but I actually had days where I, like, did the math and I was like, is it more efficient for me to go to the hot springs or to eat a third of my fruit supply and just keep going? And I did have days where I just ate a bunch of fruit and kept going. So anyway, moving on.
Okay, so I've covered, I think, most of the mistakes that I made. Are there any mistakes that you made that you thought were interesting that you wanted to bring up?
I think if I was going to do this again, I would not spend the money on getting to Calico Desert, because that was just too tempting and I died and wasted my money.
Yes, I would also not do that.
No, I think I've got got a pretty solid strategy. I had that running like a well-oiled machine by the end. I am perfect and make no mistakes. It's fine.
Okay. I don't think I made any more mistakes other than what I said. I shouldn't have bought the panning. I shouldn't have bought the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I should have.
It's okay.
I should have done what Raschelle did.
I will say, I probably should have saved my wood or something. I did have a problem the last couple weeks with having enough coal to smelt all my ore.
Yes.
That became a real struggle bus at the end.
So here, why didn't you just buy coal? Because I mean, you ended the game with 400,000. You could have just bought a whole bunch of coal from Clint.
What? You could buy coal from Clint? What?
Yeah. So I wasted like a week.
Oh my gosh!
Going through the ice levels in the mine to kill the dust mites because they drop a lot of coal. And then I was like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Right? We don't care about the money being in a bag. Let me just buy coal from Clint.
Oh my god!
He'll sell you one coal for 150, so it's not cheap, but you can buy a lot from the money you had.
Gosh. I didn't even know you could do that.
So that's the mistake that Raschelle made.
Oh my gosh. No, I was just frustrated the whole time.
So what did you do for coal? Were you just managing to make all your bars?
I mean, I did end up with a whole bunch of stuff I didn't smelt by the end.
So you're saying you beat me by 300,000 and you didn't use everything? Oh.
No, I sold it because I knew it was the last day I was going to do it, and I just wanted the extra boost to my numbers because I woke up in terror that you would beat me. Oh my gosh, I feel so dumb. Okay then, that's my mistake.
Okay, so I guess one thing I wanted to talk about is, has this made you appreciate anything in the game or make you do anything in the game that you hadn't done before?
Well, I think I've spent more time in the mines than I have in 100 years, for sure. I appreciate my horse.
Yeah, true that.
I appreciate being able to move quickly. I have a newfound appreciation for, like, the combat skill. For the first time, literally ever, I actually maxed out my combat skill, and I started getting really good at, like, how to battle different types of monsters. And, like, that was something that I had literally never considered before when playing this game, because normally I don't care that much about combat. I certainly heckin' appreciate those mines and how much money they can make.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wasn't expecting these numbers. Even on my numbers, I wasn't expecting it to be that high for the amount of time that I played just
that's a real money maker that I never realized was a real money maker, because I'm a farm-oriented farmer. I like the crops and the animals. Like, that's what I'm really into. So, like, it was really strange and good to really focus on something different. I miss decorating my farm, and I miss petting cows. Like, literally by the end of it, I was just so bored. Like, I was watching... Okay, this is not relevant, but I recently became obsessed with these videos where people, like, animate... They'll take, like, different characters from different, like, animated films and make, like, music videos and stuff. Like, Cinderella and, I don't know, Esmeralda from... Cinderella and Hunchback of Notre Dame respective, like, taking literally... Anyway, they make these videos. They're great. I'm a little bit obsessed with them now. And part of the reason is that at a certain point, I got so bored just mining the same levels over and over and over. And I was literally like, I had the 2 times that I died outside of Skull Cavern. It's because I was so bored. I was watching these videos while I was mining, and I would get distracted and just get, like, mauled by bats or something.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's so you enjoyed the challenge then. You enjoyed it so much you got bored and did other things.
Yeah. I do have so much more appreciation though for the fact that like there are so many things to do in this game. Like, and I do really appreciate that like I can go to the depth of fine-tuning a strategy to earn a benoodles amount of money just by mining. Like the fact that I can actually create an actual legit strategy to make a ton of money doing one single aspect of this game is great.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that I can do that with more than one thing.
Yeah, I think it's especially interesting when you think about the multiplayer that we were talking about last time, because like you could legitimately have one out of like your 4 people playing just do this and essentially finance everything else.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I could bankroll my entire multiplayer. What am I doing? What am I doing? Just putting down paths on the farm. Oh my god. Okay, you're right.
Help you afford more things to decorate your farm with.
Exactly. I just gotta earn 1,000,000 buckaroonies and then do whatever I want. I'm only halfway there. Bet I could hit that by the end of winter.
Well, at the rate you increased in fall, then yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I thought it was really interesting. I don't know about you, but I both loved and disliked the fact that I basically never talked to anyone in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of missed that a little bit, because you feel like you're there's obviously basically no story when you're not talking to people.
Yeah.
And I'd occasionally see like Linus sitting around outside and be like, "Oh, I should go. No, I don't have time. I don't have time to go talk to him."
Oh my gosh, I feel that. Especially in the fall when Demetrius is always standing right there by the entrance to the mines.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
hey, bye.
But also I quite liked not having to worry about that. So like obviously one of the big things about these games is keeping your friendships up.
Mm-hmm.
And in, you know, I don't know whether we talk about this in our first Stardew episode. It can feel a lot like real life in that it's difficult to keep those relationships going, in that you have to keep working at it, and that can be quite tiring. Not always, you know, sometimes it's you know, obviously you enjoy spending time with people that you actually want to spend time with. It's not a drag to spend time with people, but sometimes it can be a bit tiring constantly doing it and making sure that you actually, you know, set aside that time to be with people, not because you necessarily want to, but because you actually want to keep the relationship going and building and not lose them. And actually, in a way, I quite liked not having to worry about that, not having to think, oh, do I have a gift to give to someone today? Do I have I talked to all the people I want to talk to? I don't want to end up losing any friendship points for them. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Was quite... It made it a little bit more relaxing. But then obviously you're spending a lot of time in the mines and there are bats everywhere, so that's not relaxing.
It's playing the game without one particular aspect that can be frustrating sometimes. And it's nice to not have to worry about if Demetrius hates you.
Yeah.
Because you know he does, because you never talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, you must wonder what the village thinks of me, this crazy farmer who moved into his grandfather's farm and never talks to anyone. All he does is occasionally he comes by and buys a bag upgrade.
I don't know. I see him every day going into the mines and I don't know what's going on.
He's spending a lot of time with Clint.
Side note, did you know there is like a huge... I don't actually know if it's huge. There is a portion of the fan base that is really, really into the idea of like getting Clint to be a marriage candidate. I'm just going to leave that there for you to do with as you will.
I don't think getting him to process my geodes increases friendship though, does it?
No. He like really hates you. He's like, you never even say hello when you come into my shop. You just come in and you throw 100 geodes on my counter and then you stare at me in silence as I crack them open.
He gets a lot of money from those geodes though.
I'm going to say, like, there is a 150 grand discrepancy between my current and my total. And part of that is upgrading tools. And part of that is getting the bus to the desert. But a good chunk of that is just taking out geodes.
Well, because it's 75 per geode, isn't it?
25.
Or is it 25? But still, that's a lot. Like if you're doing 100 a week, you know, that's a lot of money.
And that's an average. I had weeks where I did a whole bunch more. Like, it's a pretty penny.
And he was getting even more money from me because I was buying all those coal.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's always complaining, I could really use the business. I'm real poor. And I'm like, dude, I'm shoveling money at you.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing that I was thinking about was the relationships is probably the biggest thing that I didn't notice. I did a couple of times go to the traveling cart just because I was like, I don't know, maybe something will be useful. And I was like, no, there's nothing useful. not for this run. And my goodness, my farm, I have never seen so much grass.
So much grass.
Grass everywhere.
Much grass.
It just kept growing.
I hit a point.
It won't stop.
Near the end of spring where I realized I was going to have to take a day every month just to make sure the pathways I always used were clear. Like, so many grass everywhere.
It's amazing how quickly it adds up when you're not farming.
Oh my, if I had made a silo, I would have been able to feed my non-existent animals for like years.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing, because certainly in my first big playthrough, I really struggled with grass for the first year and a half. Mm-hmm. Just because, obviously, to start with, my first proper playthrough, I wasn't thinking about it, so I cut down a whole bunch of it before building a silo. So that was part of the issue.
Yep.
But then also, it's hard to take some land and say, right, this is where I'm going to grow grass, because you feel like it's a bit of a waste. So yeah, it's interesting. I feel like this could be an interesting way to play the game to start off with, because maybe you don't want to build up your farm from like a really small, I'm going to grow some things and slowly add things. You could legitimately spend a year just mining, gaining loads of money, and cutting down some grass every so often into silos, and then you could have this massive farm at the beginning of year 2. Mm-hmm. That could be a really interesting playthrough.
I'm literally like zoning out, like, okay, how much do I think I could earn by the end of the first year? And then how would I most efficiently complete my farm by the end of year 2? Like,
yeah, maximize the points from your granddad.
Right? Like, which I'm very good at, by the way. I have that down to a science. Never failed an evaluation.
The first time I was... I haven't either, because I've only actually got to that point once. But I was like really worried at the beginning. I was like, oh no, at the beginning of year 3, I was like, oh no, do you think I've done enough? Like, I was reading through all the things you need to do to get enough points. And I'm like, oh no, counting, I'm not sure if I've got enough. And they all lit up, and I was like, oh, good, that's okay, I got everything, we're good.
Yeah. Just gotta pet your cat.
Well, I got a dog.
Well, it's been a fun show, everybody. I hope you guys really enjoyed that challenge.
Yeah, let us know whether you liked this. If you liked it, we'll do it again. We've got a plan for another one in a few episodes. So yeah, let us know what you think.
If you liked it, tell us. If you hated it, tell us. Tell me how you did. Like, send me your totals. Tell me about your strategy.
Yeah, let us know if you beat Raschelle.
If you beat me, I will give you respect. I was going to be like, I'll give you a prize. And then I was like, I can't say that. I'm not in a position to say that. If you beat me, I will hand over my title as Ultimate Farmer.
Oh, that's big.
It is big. It's probably not appropriate. More like my title is Ultimate Miner. But yeah, this was our first challenge. I thought it was fun and interesting. I don't know if you had fun.
I did have fun, although I'm also looking forward to being able to play other games without feeling guilty.
Oh my gosh, right? You feel guilty. I just forget that I'm doing a challenge until I've played like 25 hours of Katamari.
I didn't even play 25 hours of any game over the last 2 weeks.
Honestly, you're probably the healthier of the two of us for it, so.
I'm not really sure it's my health that is the outcome of that.
Thanks for going on this adventure with us. Let us know how everything went. And you can do that by finding me at Miss Delaney with 2 L's on Twitter. And you can find Al
at the Scottbot. That's Scott with 1 T.
Tweet the podcast at THS, as in the harvest season, THS Pod on Twitter. We retweet stuff and tweet at you guys, gal, humans, people, humans. And until the next time, have a good harvest.
Have a good harvest.
Woo!
The Harvest Season is created by Raschelle Delaney and Al McKinley. Our art is done by Maker the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, theharvestseason.club, for show notes, including links to things we discussed and transcripts for every episode. Thanks for listening.
Sorry about that. 1 minute.
You're fine.
I don't know how to stop it.
I don't know.
Shut up. Oh. Okay.